T-Fitness, T-Fitness Live, Tef's Uncut Brands, and Tef's Uncut Podcast materials and products are copyrighted by T-Fitness Media LLC and may not be shared or rebroadcast without permission. T-Fitness, T-Fitness Live, Tef's Uncut Brands, and Tef's Uncut Podcasts reserves the right to remove any of its copyrighted materials for any reason, as well as update and amend these guidelines at any reason. T-Fitness Media LLC, all rights reserved. Testing the fuck out of society. Testing, testing, testing. Is this on? Our Encore episodes are on fire. You get exclusive access to our never heard about episodes with extra content you will never get in our regular episodes. Access under the radar intel about your wellness journey that get you peeping game on the world itself around you and how you can use it to your advantage. And videos to our episodes that's coming very soon. So go ahead and become our Tef Freak premium subscriber right now. Ride this adventure called life more abundantly. Tef's Uncut Premium. Testing the fuck out of society. Testing, testing, testing. Is this on?
Why Big Pharma and politics were built to kill the real you slowly. If you want your kids to stay away from drugs, keep them away from two things as they grow up: the television and doctors. T-Man. Let me make something very clear. I'm about to touch on a very serious topic regarding politics, terminal illness, and a medication associated with it that carries a price tag that many of its patients are extremely upset about. Personally, I do not blame them for being up in arms about it. At the same time, I expect it. We'll be touching on the following segments. 1. Your sickness is a profitable business. 2. Snakes never ask for your consent or negotiate. 3. Grief, a love story for the medic industry. 4. Why being in the world is expensive to your wellness, and 5. How this affects your wellness journey. So let's get to it, shall we? 1. Your sickness is a profitable business. Before I start this topic, if you are like me and want to get an in-depth look at the business of drugs, and how it got us to where we are today, I highly suggest you research documentaries relating to the Iran-Contra and Operation Bluebird drug-related wars. This will give you a clear focus on where all of the outrageous prices of prescription drugs came from, and where they are heading. With that being said, I was reading an article in a business website about a recent drug that is designed to treat a branded symptom called Alzheimer's. The product is developed by the publicly traded multinational biotech firm Biogen and is branded under the name Adum. The biotech firm claims the drug will cost the patient a suicidal $25,000 or over $56,000 a year. The firm justified the price claiming that the U.S. already send billions of dollars a year on Alzheimer's devastating effects. So, why not add a little over 50 grand to that bill? No big deal. And despite my sarcastic add-on, it truly is no big deal, and I hope after you hear this podcast, it will no longer be a big deal to you too. My point on mentioning this drug is to take you from being angry at half of the life-preserving, not saving, drugs that cost a house and a ticket to the moon, to feeling a relief that the real remedy and possible cure is right in front of your eyes if you were in the kitchen, easy to use, and cost half of a box of cereal or your morning cup of coffee. Yes, there is a such thing as cures for multiple and countless terminal illnesses and diseases because, plain and simple, these branded diseases are not the disease itself, but are a symptom of a bigger problem: fear, anxiety, and poverty. What is fear? It has been coined as false evidence appearing real. Someone or something had to sell this illusion to you some way and somehow. When you feel fear, you feel vulnerable and exposed to some type of danger lurking that can cause you physical abuse, violence, bodily harm, a fight, stress, perhaps emotional abuse, manipulation, dependency, victim of a disease, and sometimes habitual harm, fear of relocating, losing a job, losing a loved one, daily rituals, etc. Fear is usually felt because of something that is believed to soon happen in the near future because of or based on a past situation or event. It has not happened yet, and is not guaranteed to happen, but the fear that it could creates that energetic charge to bring it into reality. It also keeps you connected to information that justifies this fear, and nothing else. Anxiety is fear of the unknown of an upcoming event. This event are usually self-invented from fear that has an immense amount of influence over your body, including your nerves, breathing patterns, and psychological health. For example, the common cold. 100 years ago, it inflicted major fear, stress, and anxiety among its victims due to the lack of knowledge of the human body and its immune system in that era. Patients were quarantined, most were given an expiration date. However, there were those who grew up, including children, with the knowledge of nature and took a shot of rum or whiskey to sweat it out and go on their merry way. Today, due to obtaining more knowledge of our body and ways to treat it, most just simply grab an over-the-counter cold medicine, or in our case, a shot of rum or whiskey, and call it a day. This is why in my line of business, most patients of terminal illnesses will not come to us to get a better understanding of what they are experiencing, and learn an alternative way to strategically combat it coherently from a holistic approach, because wellness and holistic information is in a higher vibrational frequency apart from that of fear, which is a lower vibration. Mostly, the opposite happens due to humans' high tolerance of pain. Some of our clients came to us because they believed our industry was their last resort. They would have never even think about our lifestyle or approach on a healthy lifestyle if the terminal illness did not evoke their desire to seek alternative treatments. Poverty is simply having lack of information with the intelligence of using it. Poverty is not about money or status or how big your house or exotic your cars are. Poverty is when fear makes the person dismiss any information that contradicts or show any alternatives to the official story of anything they believe that justifies their fear. Cognitive dissonance and poverty are kind of like twin siblings in my view. They work together to keep the mind in a lower vibration, whilst creating a Stockholm syndrome of the patient that has created a psychological dependency on the ailments. This creates poverty in my view because the only information that patient will allow and receive is everything related to any artificial and chemical related treatment of the ailment. Look at the word treatment again. The first time I heard the word treatment was when I was in kindergarten, and if you did what the teacher told you to do, you were given a treatment or a treat. It was either candy, gummy bears, or a small toy you would find in a cereal box. This made me feel good for getting treated for doing a task the teacher wanted me to do, so I repeated that process because I like being treated well. I liked the candy and toys, wanted more of them, so I repeated being a good student to get treated more. A disease works in a similar fashion. You, as the doctor in pharma, is not treating the patient, you are treating a belief system, a fear, and an imbalanced cell to repeat a process that justify this branded ailment is doing. You are feeding this ailment candy and toys because it is being a good student, repeating breaking down the cells and mind of the patient. And let's not even get to the remittance or any other emotional roller coasters the medical industry puts the patient through. I am not going there now because I want to ask this important question. How many patients of terminal illnesses would you say have a sound mind? What is a sound mind? It is where you are 100% cognitive of who you are, your surroundings, where you are, you recognize everyone around you, and you are completely independent of your thoughts. No one can coerce you, manipulate you, or have you do anything that is against your own will. You are able to sign documents and understand fully what you are signing. You have the capacity to ask and answer questions so that you are fully informed of what you are getting involved with, in, or getting yourself into. Does that sound about right? The last time I was in a hospital, before I was administered any drug, even a pain reliever, I had to sign a waiver agreement. So I ask, do the patient of a terminal illness sign a waiver before being administered or prescribed to a drug? If this is the case, this sounds like the profiteering, power and influence of any pharmaceutical or biotech firm lies within the conformity and consent of the patient. It also rely on the consent and acceptance of not only their families and loved ones, but by society as a whole. For example, the acceptance of chemotherapy regarding cancer over a more natural holistic approach pioneered by the father of medicine himself, Hippocrates. Snakes never ask for your consent or negotiate. I'm not giving pharmaceuticals any leeway or defending them. I'm stating a principle of a great duality that we all have to experience and face throughout our lives while seeing this from their point of view. We get the opportunity to be in this planet to explore, learn, and create newer experiences and develop innovative ways to do better than the previous generation. However, the world has already been designed and built according to a certain psychological habit that was conjured centuries ago by a small group of families that depend on the status quo to remain in power over the consciousness of mankind. Their fear is losing this influence over the masses, But that should not be your concern of what they fear. Your concern is how you can unsubscribe to the world according to them. The other duality is a world according to you. There are numerous scriptures and scientific data that justify why the world does evolve around you despite popular beliefs that it does not. If I wanted control over the mind of you and your future descendant, I would want you to believe it does not evolve around you. For the moment you start to know that it does based on your thoughts, you can start creating your own world within. The world around you start to respond to your thoughts about you, and you are no longer a plaything to their world. This also means you start to allow more information within you that shows you why most diseases are nothing but a symptom of an acidic, malnourished, starving, and stressed out imbalanced body that's crying to be balanced. You start to receive information that teaches you the medicinal properties of certain plants, herbs, roots, seeds, nuts, soil, water, and the value of quieting your mind, body, and reconnecting to your soul. You start to heal a lot of beliefs, thought patterns, mentalities, and rethink about the information you allow in your life. You start to be more mindful of what you say about yourself and others. It starts to happen naturally without anyone telling you to do it, it just starts to happen out of nowhere. This makes the snakes of the world irrelevant to you. Big pharmaceuticals, the media, and all mind control tactics no longer have a hold on you. Therefore, that $25,000 price is no longer irrelevant. It becomes no big deal after all. But make no mistake about this, there is a reason why pharma put price tags on things like this. It is not about making money at all, though it's a byproduct to maintain its business. It is about power over a vulnerable body stuck in an acidic mindset and body. They get entertained by the misery and hopelessness of the patient because they know you, me, and every human being on this planet has a sound mind. This is what helps them sleep at night. They also know that you and I were born into a chemical romance. This means due to the major operations of saturating our soil ecosystem with herbicides, pesticides, and GMO crops, we were born with every chemical known to man in our bloodstream from umbilical cord to now. We were born addicted to chemicals. I will not go too far on this subject right now, for this is a whole complete podcast of its own. I mention this to make my point on why the cost is as high as it is. The medical industrial complex, or Med-IC, knows that one of the biggest causes of stress is none other than personal finances. My question is, do most patients succumb and die because of the illness itself, or because of the financial stress they endure after hearing the bill? Families have been torn apart, bankruptcies and divorces has been filed, homes foreclosed, careers ended because of medical-related debt. Debt that is told to the masses is not forgiven during bankruptcy. Just like college, this is how successful and effective your Med-IC and the pharmaceutical products are. They are so effective, successful, and ethical, you can't get a full refund if the product does not live up to its hype. 2. Grief, a love story for the medic industry. It can also fall right down to grief, and how we are told to handle it. Any change in life requires grief as a healing process: change of moving, career change or another job, starting or selling a business, graduating, losing a loved one/pet, selling a vehicle, changing a diet, releasing old friends or gaining new ones, moving from a lifelong neighborhood or community, growing up, etc. Anything that changes your routine or daily habits can also cause grieving. Unfortunately, in our society, and in most cultures we grow up in, grief is seen as a one-size-fits-all experience. Most believe you have to cry a river to show remorse, or fall apart after experiencing a loss. Commercials and television shows even displayed an expected reaction of what common grief looks like. Therefore, we are never taught how to be okay grieving based on our own unique way of expressing it and on our terms. We are told you should have gotten over it by now, regardless of the time frame. We are even given an expiration date on when we are allowed to grieve, then move on to the next. This creates a grave resistance within our body, our cells, and our spirit. We are then forced to push down our true feelings, emotions, and expression because we never got the chance to fully grieve and heal. Because of this, it causes the body to experience every symptom known to man. All those feelings and energetic emotions bottled up inside, waiting to be released. This could take months, years, even decades. And as we hold on to these feelings without grieving, the pharmaceutical commercials is right there to put auto-suggestions in our minds of a simple symptom from the lack of grieving, into a bigger deal that has generated trillions of dollars in revenue, and billions of profits today. Just to get a gist on how much impact the lack of grief has fed the pharmaceutical machine, ask yourself, those you love, and even a stranger, when was the last time they fully grieved a loss? Their answers could be the key, even to solving Alzheimer's. Why being in the world is expensive to your wellness. I grew up in the conservative Deep South. Fear of God, patriotism, and fried foods is the staple of Southern life. However, I was surrounded by heavily religious family members, although they were very unhealthy. We were always last in education, science, and economics, but number one in STDs, teen pregnancy, domestic violence, poverty, obesity, and sugar diabetes. Praise the Lord. My state also paid more in Medicare and Medicaid on its citizens than any other state in the country. My point is, the lifestyle of most everyone I grew up with was very poor in healthy habits. Those who sought to eat and be healthy were mocked, and vegetable oil was the official edible prayer oil of saying grace before eating our fried meals. Although really good and delicious, the acidity and destruction of the molecular structure of the nutrients of the meal was destroyed from high temperatures of deep frying, making the food no longer nourishing or any value for the body and mind, thus, making us mineral and vitamin deficient, and severely malnourished. This deprived the mind from the much-needed energy that comes from the mineral and nutrients of the fish and greens and other vegetables that would have provided some nutrients, but was destroyed during the frying process. Because this deprived the mind from the necessary nutrients and energy, the thinking pattern is affected. This interferes with critical thinking and rational, but opens the mind to superstitions and autosuggestions. This could explain why religion and radicalism in certain belief systems was very prevalent in my community. Without questioning your belief system, you are prone to believe the consequences of not fearing some God with a promise of an actual mansion in the sky if you die born again or after Jesus returns in the clouds. And even if you are not pumped full of drugs, eating everything fried under the sun, and want to rebuke everything you see that goes against the Bible and choose to ask questions about their beliefs, you are now an atheist and are subject to being possessed. Meanwhile, the medical costs are skyrocketing, tests, lab work, and medications as well as hospital stays are rising. There are more patients than doctors to prescribe the drugs. But let's not pretend to be surprised of why this is happening. The world demands more and more of your energy, whether through money or your belief. It is designed to tax you to death. This is why most believe that the surest thing in what they call life is death and taxes, because based on the information they vibrate in, that is all they know, will always know, until they consent to life itself more abundantly. That is the duality. You will come to realize that the only sure thing is life is abundance. Otherwise, according to the biogens of the world, you belong in the world according to the med-IC. You belong to the biotech and pharmaceutical firms. As long as you belong to them, you will grow up watching, listening, and believing in habits, food, cultures, belief systems, and rules according to them. So unfortunately for those of the world, they will have to fork up thousands of dollars to treat a symptom again. Or, they can choose to take that same money and redirect it into their personal and spiritual growth. Invest in understanding who you are. Where you came from as an intelligent, sexual, spiritual being having a human experience. Do not wait for your physical earthbound government to do this for you, watch them do it because of you. No one do anything to you, the world responds because of you. You have to be the one to start your own ministry of health. You have to be the one to invest in the moment to learn about your telomeres, how it affects your life, and how to strategically use and leverage new information that coincide with your life more abundantly. 5. How this affects your wellness journey. To me, heaven on earth makes life simple, easy to use, convenient, and fun. You just know who you are, declare what you desire to experience, speak as if you are experiencing that, and find ways to feel really good. I love sex and traveling, so orgasms and touring is my feel-good triggers. Imagine that, our creators want us to have more sex to achieve and manifest our desired life journey. If you want it to be free to live, just state, declare, and speak it. You want to be healthier beyond measure, speak it and be it. You want more peace? Speak it and be it. And see how much money you will spend on trying to stay healthy. So in closing, Biogen and all these pharma bullshit no longer have anything to do with you. You are healthy, wealthy, and wise beyond measure. That cost is none of your concern anymore. If you or someone is suffering from the symptom the drug mentioned above, you will have to know that your mind is a placebo. Your body, click telomeres, obeys your thoughts and words you speak. The pharmaceutical industry knows this about you. Learn who you are because they know who you are. 2. Until next time, TE freaks.